Hello and welcome to this GrantGPT full setup. Its aim is to basically go through the whole process for you. So I'm gonna, of course, split this video down into chapters. And I suspect it'll be something that you really won't want to watch from start to finish in one go, unless, I don't know, maybe you're a very specific type of personality type, that sort of stuff. But you're going to want to keep referring to this and coming back to it and um, going over stuff. And that's totally fine. Well, that's the sort of aim of this. So it might be quite a long video, but so I'm going to split that down into chapters. You can bookmark and do all that sort of stuff that you need to do. Right, let's get on with it then. So basically, as I said, the idea of this video is to set up the whole thing from start to finish. And of course, what you'll need is paid ChatGPT, although this should work on other things like Google Gemini if you've got that. But I've not tested it on anything else other than ChatGPT. And so this whole process is assuming that it's going to be done in ChatGPT, but it should work on other AI platforms as well if you've got those. You will also have a Google Drive or something similar for your cloud storage. And of course, you want to have the GrantGPT prompt pack. All right, so we don't need this. I'm sort of going to be editing this a little bit as we go down. And, it's fine. And then obviously I'll give you access to this as well, so you can just go through this if you prefer. Yeah, so we're basically going to go through the more advanced setup. There is sort of a more dirty setup, but this is what you're paying for, basically. So why not, with this? You want to set up a ChatGPT project. Now, I've already done a video about this, so right now I'm going to slot in that video, and then you'll be able to see how to set up the project.
Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to create a new project. So if you look here on your left hand, you should have projects. Just click new project there. And this is where we're going to put our name. So I've got my fictional charity that I've just set up, which is very good. So we put the name there, and then you can pick a nice color and the logo, whichever one you want. There we go. Blue. And then on this little gears icon here, click on there, and you want to have project only. So you don't want your project to be getting information from other stuff that you've maybe done within your account. Like, for example, you may be using a ChatGPT that's a personal one, not one based on your business or charity. So you don't need to be getting your accounts or your budget that you've done for your holiday to Mallorca, whatever. So there you go. Click on there and then create project. Pretty simple. Your next step is to give your project instructions. How do you want it to act? What do you want it to do? Now, we have the instructions in this in prompts here. Okay, so it'll be this one here. Follow instructions. Now, I've set one up already that is based on my charity, my fictional charity. So my advice would be for you to go here, open this and go through it and make it very personal to your charity. So, and there is an example of that in examples. So you click on there and you can read sort of how I've personalized it here. The one thing to bear in mind has to be under 8,000 characters. Okay, so I'm going to take this and put it into the instructions. Okay, so click up here into the three dots and then we go add instructions. Click on there. Just simply paste it, the whole prompt in there like that. And that's it. Click OK. And now your project will know how to behave, what to do. Now, the next thing, what you want to do is add some files. So these will be the files that your project will, so your instructions will be like how it will behave, and your files will be the resources that it will use to get the information to give various answers. So, for example, if you have a prompt that in brackets it says it's asking about what area you operate in, it will go into these projects and it'll look for an area. So the charity that I've set up is one based in Bristol, for example. So it'll automatically know that information, which is pretty helpful. That saves a lot of time. Okay, so what you want to do is come over here and you come to folder number 2, documentation, and you'll see you've got all these documents here. So you got branding and style guides. Style guides. Don't know, so that weird there. Data protection and house. Sorry. Um, okay, so when you come back to the folder, if you look at folder number 2, documentation, and you click on there, and you've got a list here of some of the basic documents that you want to have attached. So you got branding and style guide, which is basically, of course, how you want various things to be written out. So you want to go through here and double check that this aligns with your charity's style guides. Data protection, the same type of thing as well. Go through there. That is very important. GDPR and stuff like that. So you want to double check that aligns with your charity's policies, anything legal there as well. And glossary terms as well. Again, you may want to update that if you're in a very specific charity. Let's say you're in a charity that is very science-based, for example. This glossary term does not have science-based stuff in it, so you may want to update that as well. So really, really important. Download those and then put them here, which I'm going to do right now, but also add in here anything else that you think may be relevant. So, for example, anything legal like safeguarding, for example, would be very important that you want to have in there. Any other information, add in there as well. Okay, so there you go. I've just added some random documents there. Just show you how I believe you can get up to 25 documents in here. Now, if that becomes a problem, I don't think it should be, but anyway, if it does become a problem, what you can do is merge quite a lot of documents together. You can use a free service, but Love, if you just Google Love PDF, go on there. This is free, I think, for 10 documents. Merge PDF, add them here, put them all together, and then put them in here like that. So you can get a lot more documentation than 25. I'm not sure what the memory is if it stops you eventually, but you'd have to have an awful lot to get to that point. So yeah, there you go. You've got your project folder all set up, and you're good to go with your first prompt.
Once that's all done, assuming you watched that video under that, you want to save outputs from ChatGPT in various formats as well. So what you want to do is just um, familiarize yourself with how to name them, how best to name them, and try and follow this pattern as you go through the course. Now I'll let you read that yourself. You can sort of take that, and obviously you've got access to this document, so you can use those, copy and paste those as well as needed. Okay. So the first step is to create your GrantGPT workspace. Now, again, I've already done a video about this. I'm going to put another video here that I've already done.
Okay, so this is just a short video just to show you once you have access to the main folder of all the resources, what you really want to do is basically to make your own folder. So you keep these clean, okay? But these ones, the ones that you edit and you basically set up for your own organization. So as you can see, I've got my fake one here, Southmore Youth Trust. And then you want to have three folders. You want to have documentation and compliance, your prompts, and templates. Obviously, in documents and compliance, you have things like style guide, data protection, and AI compliance, glossary terms. But also, you may want to have in here other compliance documents that you may have internal to your organization. And obviously, the more that you have here, the more the prompts and the output will be geared towards your specific needs. In templates, the main thing that you want to do is store things like the JSON, which will come onto, or JSON, I don't know what it's called, maybe JSON, whatever. You can store things like this in here for later. Later, you'll basically be using these. You also want to have your full setup here, which will basically be your all the information that you're going to give um, to ChatGPT about your organization. Okay. And I'm going to reiterate this throughout every time I mention this document. Of course, you want to be very conscious of confidentiality and stuff like that, and GDPR compliance as well, of course. This will also be, this will also grow as develop. And also, I know, then of course you want to have prompts here as well. But you see, the thing is you may want to edit these. So as you learn more about the prompts and how they operate, you may come here and go, actually, I want to change this. I want to change various things to use in the future. Okay.
Great. So then we want to move on to step 2, which is creating a full setup template. Now, where you'll find this is in obviously your templates. So you go to templates, and it might actually be still one. Ignore these two for now because there's something else. But this is what you'll sort of see. No, just assume anything you see that's got copy, you will have that. So you open this and you want to spend I would give yourself an hour at least just to really go through this and give as much detail possible. The more detail that you put in this, the better long term, because that means that GrantGPT has got something to sort of get the information from without having to hassle you, without having to ask other questions, without sort of putting in to be filled in later or something like that. It should just be annoying. You put it all in and it's done once. Now, throughout this whole presentation, throughout this whole use of GrantGPT is be very conscious, obviously, of confidentiality. So everything that you put in here, just ask yourself the question, if a random stranger in the street was to know this information, would it be problematic? And that will probably give you a good indication of whether you should put something in here or not. You can always delete stuff from here, from this template. You can always rename it if it's more in tune with your organization. Okay, so here's a rough one that I did based on that from this sort of made up charity that Southmore Youth Trust. Okay, so I just put lots of information again, just so there's something during the demonstrations that I can play with. Okay, so yeah, give yourself about an hour or so to that and fill in as much information as you can. Okay, once you've done that, then you can go on build and sort out your first prompt 00. For some reason in this video that I recorded late last night, I think I was very tired, I called it prompt 1. So excuse that. Prompt 00. And what you're going to spit out is this file here. So as you can see, we do this first. We do sort of the profile setup first. Then we can run this. And then from this, we can run other prompts.
We are going to take the profile that we've just done, and we're going to put this into the into here like that. Just attach it, so it's got all the information. And then this prompt, the prompt one, basically is going to take all of your charity information and then use it, and it's going to spit out another document that we're going to run. And we only need to do this once, and the document that it spits out, we'll be able to use this in other future prompts. Okay, so that's just run now. That took about almost 5 minutes, because quite a lot to read through and get through and sort out. Also, I should have said, you really want to put this on almost this whole project. You want to put on thinking. The reason that is, it is slower, but it's a lot more precise and a lot more in depth. And also, one of the really helpful things is that it gives you sort of feedback of what it's been up to. So you can go through this and you can go, something's not quite right. Tells you about conflicts there. Of course, this is all demo stuff, so it's not perfect, but it'll highlight any sort of issues as well. So you may want to double check this and run it again if there's something that's missed, or saying, it couldn't verify something. So it's got some questions here and stuff, which is sort of helpful. I'm not going to be bothering with this at the moment, but basically what you want to do is just copy this title, open a notepad like this, just nice and easy, or you can put it into your Google files. Okay. Actually, you want to copy the code first, and then just put that in there, just so it's nice and safe, and then copy this. Call it whatever you want, really, as long as you remember it. So I'm just going to put this on my desktop for now. And you want to make sure it's a JSON file as well. Okay. I'm just going to put it like that. I just refer that to the way. Okay, so .json, I'm just going to put it on my desktop, put it wherever you want it, that's safe, because you're going to keep coming back to this. So that is basically the first prompt all sorted for you.
Okay, once you have got your JSON file, as you can see, it will be used in lots of other things as well. So we're going to move on to the prompt, which is 1.5. And I'm sure I'm going to get asked at some point, why is it 1.5 and not just a normal number? I'm going to be honest with you. It was after I planned all the prompts, I decided that we needed another prompt here. It was 1.5. And that's it. Not particularly exciting. Anyway, the point is, it's a very powerful prompt. It does lots and lots of exciting things. You can find out more about that. But what we're going to do is just set that up now and show you how to do it. Okay, so we're going to go to prompts. We're going to open 5.5. And as usual, always have a little look through, understand what it's sort of been saying. If there's anything that you go, that's not right, or we don't do that, or we used to that, or you want to change any of the settings, then you're perfectly entitled to that. Also, it's always worth just double checking what it's sort of telling you to do. So deep thinking mode and canvas, it's a pretty standard. So let's go to our prompts. You can see I've written that. Let me delete, because that's just going to get confusing. So we're going to come here. We're basically just going to copy that one, copy the whole thing. Now, I sometimes do just tidy it up and go, okay, doesn't need to know all this. Doesn't, I always go from sort of like goal. There you go. Okay. Now let's just double check what else we are having to do here, just so I don't mess it up and show you the wrong way. So the prompts, paste there we go. We've got the JSON that we've done. I'm going to put that in there. Any other documentation that may be helpful, but hopefully anything like this, you've already put in here anyway. But just in case, you may want to put something, if you just want to use it once, run the prompt. Okay, so we're going to get our JSON file. Again, not sure if that's how it is pronounced. Okay, so we've got that attached there. And we want to make sure that it's, 515. We want to put it into thinking. We go to extended thinking. And we also want to have canvas. Now, that should run quite nicely. So we just let it run. It'll take quite a while to do. So I'm going to pause it and come back when it's all eager to do. Okay, so it's gone. It's done its thing. Now, the first thing that came up, it asked me some clarifying questions. These are the ones that you wanted to ask me, and I basically just entered some sort of, again, just sort of some fake information. I had a couple of issues. I had to I sort of just stopped for no reason, so I just carry on. Eventually, as you can see, it took about 10 minutes to run. I mean, it's quite a big thing that we're asking it to do here. And it's come out with loads of information. So first, sort of summary here, quite interesting. It sort of basically summarizes the highest scoring, fully vetted is this trust that I could potentially look at if I did charity. And then the second one, then it sort of breaks it down into a bit more information, goes through there. So it came up with 7 possibilities, which is amazing. Drop some certain ones there. And then it's got here priority target. So it's targeted this trust here and outlined, sort of how potentially would meet the requirements, the references, and then trail here. So loads of really valuable information that you can take away. Now, the first thing that you want to do is just copy it and then put it into a document that I've called prompt 1 results and put that in your results folder. So you've got all this information. I'm going to come back to some of this information with other prompts. So there you go. That is 1.5. Okay, now we can move on to prompt 4, where we refine the need statement, and the output is a funder-specific need statement ready to lift into your application forms. And as you can probably see, how these are built all on top of each other, so it's really helpful. So what you need here is basically just a prompt, and then you paste in the draft needs statement that we got from prompt 1.5, paste or attach funder guidance and any additional information that you have. So we'll come here and we'll go here, and we'll open prompt number 4, which is here. It's deep thinking and canvas again, so that's nice and easy, no problems there. Again, you may want to go through here and just double check anything that stands out to you. But at the moment for this, I'm just doing a sequence like that. What I'm going to do is also, let's go back to the results, the outputs. And I'm just going to take the needs statement. Here we go. So section C. Just going to take that. Just going to put that into a separate document, just so it's keeping everything a little bit idea. Let's call it after now. Okay. So got that there. I'm going to attach that in a second. I've also got started a new folder here called opportunities. So we've got the trust here that I've put in there. And then I've downloaded from their website various helpful um, information as well that I'm going to also attach to the project. Okay, so I've attached the 3 documents. We want to make sure, of course, that it is in thinking and extended. Again, so we just get the best possible results. We want to do it in Canvas. And now let's see what the... Okay, so here we are. We've got the results. Took about 6 minutes. Here's the basic sort of statements that we were looking for. And then it goes into a lot of detail from there. References, style cards, glossary, etc. So basically all this information is really key and valuable in applying for this particular organization. I can't remember what it's called now. There we go. This trust here, the trust. Okay, so that's what its Form 4 has done. It's got gleaned all that information. So when you come to then make an application, you know that you can be fairly confident what's going on here. Now, of course, and I'm going to keep saying this throughout this whole video, that you have to check it. Yeah. But what's interesting is that right at the bottom here, it goes AI review notes for human check before submission. So it even guides you on, let's just make sure just what to check. So again, another great time saver there. And then what we do, we put this again into I can't spell prompt or let's call it output for now. I know what that is. And then we just put that in the outputs as well. So then we've got all this information. We can keep it. We can come back to it time and time again. So that is prompt 4, all done. Okay, let's now move on to prompt 6, building objectives and evaluation. Again, this is just more and more information that we're collecting and developing for our grant bids. With this, you want to provide additional information if you have it. So the way to do it, of course, is just to you put it into documents and then have it as an attachment. You may also find that a lot of this information you've already gleaned or have around. So you can just collate that and add that as an attachment. If not, the prompt may may stop and ask you for additional information. So you just have to sort of be aware that may happen, but then you can just go and collect it. So that's absolutely fine. So let's run this prompt and see what it does. So we're going to prompt 6. And as always, you want to check this, just make sure there's nothing here that is problematic or you're missing out or something that just doesn't quite feel right against your particular organization. And guidance here on the types of things that you want to attach. The more information, the better from there. So what I'm going to do is just copy all this, head it over to yeah. We're going to add some attachments. Okay, so I've just added some attachments. I've just clicked run. And now we're going to see whether it is going to ask me for more information or not. If not, it will just run and output. So that's absolutely fine. We can go and see what more information it may need.
Okay, this is the final output, and it took quite a while. I remember, so I sort of left it came back to it quite some time after and didn't come up how long it took. But yeah, it took quite a while, and yeah, these things do because they're very complicated. But as you can see, there's an incredible amount of information that I'm not going to go through right now because yours it may look quite different, but you can just see that you've got an awful lot of information that you can go through that'll be really helpful for you in your bids. Obviously, there's a couple of ways that you can use this information. You potentially, if you wanted to, have separate folders for the various sections, if that would be helpful for you in your, in going through this information. I've just put all mine in here for now, just as an example. And you may want to go through and tidy it up. All the tables sort of come like this if you just straight paste it. So you can go through and just clean it up like this and use it. So if we sort of look at this a second, the output basically is a set of objectives and an evaluation framework aligned to your funders' expectations, which is incredibly helpful information and, as you can imagine, incredibly time saving as well. So that is prompt 6 for you. Okay, this is the final output, and it took quite a while. I remember, so I sort of left it and came back to it quite some time after, and didn't come up how long it took. But yeah, it took quite a while, and yeah, these things do because they're very complicated. But as you can see, there's an incredible amount of information that I'm not going to go through right now because yours it may look quite different, but you can just see that you've got an awful lot of information that you can go through that'll be really helpful for you in your bids. Obviously, there's a couple of ways that you can use this information. You potentially, if you wanted to, have separate folders for the various sections, if that would be helpful for you in your, in going through this information. I've just put all mine in here for now, just as an example. And you may want to go through and tidy it up. All the tables sort of come like this if you just straight paste it. So you can go through and just clean it up like this and use it. So if we sort of look at this a second, the output basically is a set of objectives and an evaluation framework aligned to your funders' expectations, which is incredibly helpful information and, as you can imagine, incredibly time saving as well. So that is prompt 6 for you. Okay, what we're going to do now is go on to prepare a budget, which is in prompt 5. Now, the cool thing about this is that the output is going to be an audit-ready budget and justification you can use in forms and attachments. And this is a very powerful prompt, and you have to put in quite a lot of information. I'm going to do in a second, and it's also going to be run in there we go in agent mode. So it's quite lengthy, quite powerful, and but also quite amazing that this sort of agent mode is incredibly powerful. Okay, so what I've done, I've attached all my documentation, loads of stuff as well from the actual trust that I'm applying for. So the more information that this prompt has, the better. Now, also what I've done is I've put in things like draft budget costs. I've put some example templates here for you that you can use if you want to. Staff time as well, all this sort of stuff. Again, lots of information in here that you can You can read about um, here what you need to provide. And also, I've also just attached them here as well, because again, the more information that you have, the better. If you always remember that, then that's good. So what we're going to do, we're going to run the prompt um, from here, from there, all the way down to, we don't need this information. Have that, copy that, put the prompt in there. We're going to make sure that it is in agent mode, which is here. So click on there. And we're going to see if it runs. It may stop and ask me more clarifying questions. That's fine. But you'll see that agent mode is this really weird thing where it sort of has a computer in a computer. It's really odd. I don't quite understand how it works, but it's absolutely incredible. And I've used it for other stuff, um, like finding a new bike, for example, is one thing that I use. So anyway, I'm gonna pause it here and then come back in a second and see what happens. As you can see, this is what happens. Okay, so we have an output. Basically, what happened was after 2 minutes, it came up needing more information. So I went through this. I basically, because obviously it's a fake charity that I'm part of, I just put in some random fake sort of information just to sort of make the prompts go. But of course, when it comes up for you, this sort of stuff, you want to make sure, obviously, that you put in the correct information, obviously. So yeah, put that there, and then it spat out. So it was about sort of less than 10 minutes, which is pretty good. Spat out this sort of information. Um, all these sort of CSV files, and then a narrative financial justification. I, excuse me, put it all in here. Obviously, the financial justification, and all these, of course, you go through and check. I've just opened one just to show you converted it. So it came out with, again, this sort of financial um, information that you'd have to go through and double check. But the point is, it's sort of done so much of the work for you. It's tried to sort of match up what's been asked by the funders, what you've got, where it overlaps. It also obviously gives you information here about the accuracy and any sort of um, advice or warning or anything like that. You could even ask it now, um, to do a SWOT analysis, for example, that type of stuff, just to get more details and information and anything like that. So yeah, that should be really helpful for you. Okay, now we're going to get on to drafting a full proposal, which is prompt 3. Now the output here is going to be a structured proposal draft ready for internal review and submission. The cool thing here now is that we're starting to build prompts on top of past prompts. So you can see here that there's lots of information that we have to attach. But the great thing is we've already done the work. We just need to say, let's say, for example, objectives here, prompt 6. So all I've done is just gone in and uh, attached from outputs folder information from prompt 6, converted to PDF. It's sort of easier. And that's it. When we ran prompt 6, all I did was just copied what was outputted and put it into a folder, and now I'm uploading it. So it's building up on itself, which is absolutely incredible. So what we're going to do is go and remember it's prompt 3, grant proposal drafting. It's canvas mode. And we're just going to take all this. Again, obviously, I keep saying this, go through, double check everything. And we're just going to copy and paste the whole lot. See if it asks any clarifying questions. So we're going to do, always make sure it's on thinking, extended thinking, because, why not? Why not have it as powerful as possible, right? So it's going to put it in there and see what comes out. Okay, so what happened was it asked me quite a few clarifying questions, but that's basically good because it's wanting to be as precise as possible. So we've got the inquiry email, got application form sections, narrative answers, summary of key income sources, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of information here that's gleamed. And then at the bottom, it's also got, again, some review notes, things that need to be clarified. So what you could simply do if you wanted to, you could go through this section, go through all, double check everything, and then put the updates here and say update with the key information, and it would do that and it'd be perfect. So I've put that into I'll put 3 here, and yeah, that's that prompt done. Okay, what we're going to do now is move on to prompt number 8, which we're going to build a pipeline, which is pretty fun. And the outcome of that will be a supported view for your grant pipeline with priorities and timelines, which can be very helpful, of course, in tracking. So first thing you want to do is do a CSV sheet of there's actually a template for this if you want it in the template section that I've put together. And then once you've done that, it's quite simple. You basically just come over to the prompt, and then the usual, the whole lot. Don't need this very last section. Copy that. So I've attached lots of documents here, including the pipeline documents somewhere. Let me just check that's there. Maybe not. There you go. And then we just put the prompt into there like that. As always, make sure it's on deep thinking, send the thinking, put the canvas. I don't know, canvas doesn't always appear, so I'm just going to put it there anyway and see if it does. And we go and see what happens. Okay, so this is an output that we've got. Again, a lot of information here. What I then asked it to do was to yeah, I asked it basically to output it into a spreadsheet, which is what it's done here. So you can sort of see, again, a lot of information here. How this could be really helpful is for you to wade through it and see what information is most applicable and helpful for you and put that into a sort of a pipeline. So one program, for example, could be Airtable, which would where you could basically put it into an Airtable and follow it along there, or in a spreadsheet like this where you have drop downs and you or can I say the word bam table, that type of stuff. So that's how you sort of make your pipeline for your various charity applications that you're doing. Okay, let's move on to prompt number 9. We're coming towards the end of all these prompts now. So this is a run, a compliance and accessibility review. So the output here is a proposal that has been systematically checked against the rules, counts, accessibility, and style. And you want to attach a proposal draft, funding guidelines, etc., and a brand and style guide as well. So this is a fairly easy prompt to run because really you've done a lot of background information as well. So basically, a lot of your past prompts are going to feed into this, and that's one of the beauties of the system. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to close this from the last one. We're going to open prompts. So number 9. we go from here again, all the way down. And as usual, just double check everything, whack it in there. Then we're going to add our attachment. Okay, I've done all that now. I've added all the attachments, including the style guides and all the other recommended um, information. And as usual, you can just keep adding as much as you can because it will also always be helpful. And this one is in agent mode. We're going to run that and just see what happens now. Okay, that was quite quick. I added a few more details, but basically, here we have the car report. It's breakdown. Of course, because I'm sort of putting in my sort of fake information and making this up a little bit, this sort of fictional charity. Obviously, it's not as detailed as it could be. But again, you can sort of see that there is a lot of um, information that it spits out, which is really valuable, again, for your processes, even issues as well as scoring that you can sort of look at and adjust your inputs as well. So that is that. And now we're going to come on to the, where's it gone? There we go. We're going to come on to the final prompt. Now, the final prompt is a bit of a sort of strange one because it's really if you have a refusal, you can run this prompt. You can go through here and basically you can get information of, okay, we've been refused. How can this be helpful in the future? So basically you get a growing learning log that highlights recurring issues, for example, weak evidence, poor fits, budget outcomes, etc. And then basically you can use this output and other outputs as well to rerun your the very first prompt that you did master um, and other or other prompts as well. So it's like a reoccurring thing that you can keep adding information and outcomes and that. So you're basically learning from rejections and other evidence as well that you get in. So it's basically a sort of a system that keeps learning and developing as you go along. So I hope that was helpful. Obviously, your situation will be very different, and I was just using this sort of made up charity that I was sort of developing as we was going along. So obviously some of the outputs and stuff aren't ideal, but it's basically just a very rough guide for you. Do throw in any questions or any ways even to improve the system as well, which would be great. And we can sort of keep developing this as we go along. Thank you for watching. And yeah, do make a comment, share, and all that lovely stuff. The more people that use this, obviously, the more money that can be generated for charities and good causes, and also the more time and effort that I'll put in to try and update this and improve it as it goes along, particularly if it's very valuable for organisations out there. Thank you again.